The ninth chapter of Matthew, and so Jesus heals a paralytic. And getting into a boat, he crossed over and came to his own city, and behold, some people brought to him a paralytic lying on a bed. And when Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, Take heart, my son, your sins are forgiven. And behold, some of the scribes said to themselves, This man is blaspheming. But Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said, Why do you think evil in your hearts? For which is easier to say, Your sins are forgiven, or to say, Rise and walk? But that you may know that the Son of Man has the authority on earth to forgive sins. He then said to the paralytic, Rise, pick up your bed and go home. And he rose and went home. When the crowd saw it, they were afraid, and they glorified God, who had given such authority to men. I want to make a mention of something here. You know, he said your sins are forgiven. In other words, sin, no doubt, had entered that man to cause his sickness. I do believe that. I believe that we can open the door to complete healing and to prosperity and to everything. It says that think on these things. Think on the things that are true and honest. Well, let me tell you what's true and honest for a believer. And that is God made you well. God made you complete. God saved you. And God also wants you prosperous. And he wants you in joy. And the way you do that is to think on good words and to believe good words and not to open yourselves up to anger or the fruits of the flesh, which are anger, jealousy, immorality, things of this nature. But think on good things. And this just proves that, hey, it's what you think. It's what you do. And you don't need to open yourselves up to anything, and Jesus said, speak to your mountains. Okay. As Jesus passed on from there, he saw a man called Matthew sitting at the tax booth. By the way, we're reading Matthew. So this is the same Matthew. And he said to him, Follow me. And he rose and followed him. And as Jesus reclined at table in the household, behold, many tax collectors and sinners came and were reclining with Jesus and his disciples. And when the Pharisees saw this, they said to his disciples, Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? But when he heard it, he said, Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. Go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I came to call the righteous. I came not to call the right. For I came not to call the righteous, but sinners. Did you know when you start living in the Spirit and focusing your mind on the Spirit and not on the flesh, you will get rid of all of your anxieties. You'll get rid of all of your negative thinking. You'll get rid of any addictions that you have. Yes, it's all what you think and what you do. Then the disciples of John came to him saying, Why do we and the Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not fast? And Jesus said to them, Can the wedding guests mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? The days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will fast. No one puts on a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch tears away from the garment, and worse tear is made. Neither is new wine poured into old wineskins. If it is, the skins burst, and the wine is spilled, and the skins are destroyed. But new wine is put into fresh wineskins, so both are preserved. So I'm telling you, there's a new way to think, and that way is to think on the Spirit. Read Romans 8, the first 10 or 15 verses, and put it to memory. How, if we set our minds and talk and live. That's what it says. Set your minds, walk, and live in the Spirit, not in the flesh. Then you'll have these perfect things. While he was saying these things to him, behold, a ruler came in and knelt before him, saying, My daughter has just died, but come and lay your hands on her, and she will live. And Jesus rose and followed him and his disciples. And behold, a woman who had suffered from a discharge of blood for 12 years came up behind him and touched the fringe of his garment. Listen to this. For she said to herself, if I only touch his garment, I will be made well. What was I just talking about? Your words, right? If you talk to your mountain, Jesus said, you talk to that mountain and it will be removed. She didn't say, Dear God, please heal me and help me. And she said, no, I'm going to go touch his garment and I will be made well. And sure enough, Jesus turned and seeing her said, she said, if only I touch his garment, I will be well. Jesus turned and seeing her said, Take heart, daughter, your faith has made you well. And instantly the woman was made well. And when Jesus came to the ruler's house and saw the flute players and the crowd make a commotion, he said, Go away, for the girl is not dead, but sleeping. And they laughed at him. But when the crowd had been put outside, he went in and took her by the hand. And the girl arose. And the report of this went through all that district. Did you know we have the same power that God used to raise Jesus from the dead in our spirit that God used? That's how powerful we are. So don't have any unbelief, just believe. And as Jesus passed on from there, 2 blind men followed him, crying aloud, Have mercy on us, Son of David. When he entered the house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus said to them, Do you believe that I'm able to do this? They said to him, Yes, Lord. Then he touched their eyes, saying, According to your faith, be it done to you. And their eyes were opened. And Jesus sternly warned them, See that no one knows about it. But they went away and spread his fame throughout all that district. How could you not? I was blind, but now I see. Oh my goodness. As they were going away, behold, a demon-oppressed man who was mute was brought to him. And when the demon had been cast out, the mute man spoke. And the crowds marveled, saying, Never was anything like this seen in Israel. But the Pharisees said, He cast out demons by the prince of demons. And Jesus went throughout all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom and healing every disease and every affliction. Do you know, if you open your mind and all to evil, then demons will come in, make you sick, or demon possess you, things of this nature. So, again, if you're living in the Spirit and walking and talking, and you have the power. You have the power. When he saw the crowds, so he was healing every disease and every affliction. Man, can you believe how many people we would be able to witness to if we started healing people? When he saw the crowds, he had compassion for them, for they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. That's us. Jesus has given us the power to do things like this. We need to take it up and accomplish what he says. Don't have unbelief, and be careful of your words. Think and believe and know that You have these great gifts, and God doesn't want you thinking negatively or sinfully. Okay, thank you. Now we're going to go over to 1 Corinthians 6th chapter.